You are listening to Under the Gun, Book 9 of the Nadia Wolf Series, written by Nicolette Pierce. Copyright 2023. Audio copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices. Chapter 2. As the first hand of the tournament was dealt, I arrived at Tropical Rain Casino and sat at my assigned table. Knowing I didn't have time to pull out my hoodie, I shoved my bag under my chair and peeked at my 2 cards. Pocket aces. Damn. Those cards were good. Eyeing my opponents, I placed each player into a category. The guy to the right of me had a nervous habit of tapping his foot. He was anxious and would most likely make bad calls. The guy to the left wore a permanent bored expression, which meant he might be decent at bluffing. The only other woman at the table used her cleavage to full advantage. She'd win a few hands just by leaning forward. Then there were 2 guys who were run-of-the-mill players, complete with headphones and sunglasses. Even through the dark-tinted glasses, I felt the weighted stare of the larger of the 2 men. He wore a t-shirt that stated "All In," which gave me an insight into his playing method. Scanning the room for Caleb, I found him on the other side. Did he know I was here? Probably not. He didn't notice me, but there were several women who noticed him. Typical. Calling on a raise, I tossed in chips and waited for the dealer.
"Does something smell?"
the anxious man asked. I knew the odor was from me, but I kept quiet. Perhaps if they couldn't stand the smell, they'd make a mistake. It was a new strategy that I had no choice but to embrace. The flop, turn, and river cards were dealt. Thankfully, none of the cards would help me, but I still had a pair of aces. When All In raised, I called. We flipped over our cards, revealing he had a pair of kings. His jaw clenched, but he smothered the small glimpse of emotion. Taking the chip pile, I stacked them and peeked at the next hand. 2-3 offsuit. I let my hand die and sat back to watch the room. When a noise caught my attention, I glanced over to find Caleb had knocked out a player. The man shoved from the table, bumping the chair over. Players tended to play tight at the beginning of a tournament, so I was surprised someone was knocked out so quickly. No one wanted to be the first to go. However, with Caleb's luck, the guy could have had a flush and Caleb beat him with a royal flush. Caleb was a walking 4-leaf clover. The entire table might as well give him their chips and head to the lounge for drinks. A security guard stepped close to the irate man, but the man stormed away. A few people in the room laughed nervously after the exchange.
"Looks like Caleb is knocking people out already,"
Bored guy said.
"I've read all about Caleb.
Anxious said.
He's a legend. They say he can't lose."
I'd have to remember to tell Caleb he was a legend, but that might inflate his ego. He really didn't need it. The busty, blonde woman sighed.
"He's hot, but he married a nobody. He could have done so much better."
I eyed her. While I was not a household name, if people knew Caleb, they somewhat knew me. Did she not recognize me? Maybe not with my makeshift outfit. I tended to swaddle myself in my hoodie.
"I heard she's not allowed in the high-stakes room."
Anxious said. My gaze swung to him. Seriously?
"That's only because Caleb has a side piece up there."
All In said.
"I've seen them together. He wouldn't want his wife up there."
What side piece? They must be referring to a poker player, but I couldn't think of any women players who hung out at the high-stakes table. That made me nervous. But why should I be nervous? Caleb has never given me alarm about straying. He has been completely devoted to Ollie and me. I'd leave it alone. If Caleb was cheating on me, I would know it. But would I? I spent the last 2 months wrapped in a blanket, marinating in my own body odor. And before that, I was a pregnant whale and could barely move. Tying shoes took an act of God. Was this it? Was this the end? When the play came to me, I shoved all in without looking at my cards. I didn't want to be here anyway. I just wanted to be home with Ollie. All In called and we flipped over our cards. He had a pair of queens. and I had an 8-6 offsuit. It didn't look good for me, and that was perfect. However, the dealer laid down an 8. Still not a problem. I couldn't win with a pair of 8s. Grabbing my bag from under my chair, the dealer dealt the river, a 6. I won with 2 pairs.
Are you kidding me?
All in barked, shoving back from the table in nearly the same fashion as Caleb's opponent.
She had nothing.
The dealer pushed the chips to me. I gave an apologetic shrug at All In. He snapped his sunglasses as he glared at me with dark brown eyes.
Don't make me haul you out of here.
A commanding voice said. I glanced over to find a large man crossing the room. Built like a tank, Remy was toe-to-toe with All In a matter of a few menacing steps. All In craned his neck to look up at Remy.
She had nothing.
That's the risk of gambling.
Remy said.
You can either walk out of here on your own 2 feet, or I'll be happy to provide you with an escort.
I already knew Remy's way of escorting. The guy would be hauled out by his ears if he was lucky. All In stepped back.
I'm leaving.
He shot one last glare at me and then snatched his backpack and left. Remy eyed me, and I thought he was going to yell at me for provoking the guy, but he just gave me an undercover wink and walked away. Now that I had a decent stack of chips, I supposed I should get serious. Since the table had seen I played both good cards and bad, it'd mess with their heads a bit. I might get through this round without too many issues.
What is that smell?
Anxious complained again. That is the scent of defeat, I told him. He frowned and pulled out a pair of sunglasses. During a 10-minute break, I hurried to the bathroom. Before pregnancy, I just had to worry about my bladder, but this time it was all about the girls who were about to explode. There was no way I'd be back at the table in time, but I had enough of a chip lead that if they took a round or 2 of blinds, I'd survive. Still, I rushed. By the time I returned to the lobby, I found it was empty. The players were back at the table. Taking a moment to breathe, I attempted to get my head back into the game. A tap on my shoulder startled me. I turned to find All In behind me. He didn't look angry. In fact, he held out a charm.
For you. I don't normally lose my temper, but you have to admit that was a bad beat. Anyway, thought I'd make peace, and I got you a good luck charm.
You didn't have to. That was a bad beat. I didn't expect to win. He shrugged.
You win, I lose. Gambling is a fickle mistress.
When I didn't take the charm, he hooked it on my backpack zipper. He then gave me a smile and turned to leave. I watched as he exited the lobby and into the main casino. Glancing at the pretty red poker chip decorated with 4-leaf clovers, I supposed it couldn't hurt my game. I left it on the zipper and resumed my spot at the table. In my absence, Anxious had become short-stacked and was on his final push All In. Bored Guy easily wiped him out, which only left Bored Guy, Blondie, Sunglasses, and me. Soon our table would merge with another table. However, that didn't happen until the second break. I hurried to the bathroom yet again, but was stopped when 2 arms wrapped around me, bringing me into a warm chest. You better be my husband or you're about to lose body parts, I warned, even though I knew it was Caleb.
I hope not your favorite part.
He teased. Locks of sandy brown hair tickled my cheek as he leaned in to kiss my neck.
What is that delightful smell?
I turned in his arms to face him. Ollie spit up and it's all in my bra, a gift that keeps on giving. But the smell is messing with some players, so I'll live with it.
Who is watching Ollie?
Jessica hired a girl named Daphne. She seems nice, and I haven't gotten a distress call yet. Caleb nodded.
I'm glad to see you back in the game. Are you going to make it to the final table to play me?
Rather cocky. There are no guarantees you'll be at the final table.
I'm always at the final table.
He playfully winked at me.
And I plan on winning.
Keep dreaming. I'll beat the pants off you.
Promise?
He smirked.
I'd say the same to you, but it looks like Maya got you into a skirt.
And Mark? Caleb took a better look.
Is that my favorite shirt?
I nodded. Sorry, They modified it.
As long as I get to take it off you, I'm not sorry.
An announcement alerted us to a 2-minute warning. I gave Caleb a kiss. See you at home tonight? He squeezed me to him and then let go.
Good luck, kitten.
Racing to the bathroom, I hurried to a stall to take care of the girls. By the time I returned to the lobby, it had cleared out again. Apparently, tournament directors didn't design the breaks for lactating women. As I headed into the tournament room, a metallic scent in the air stopped me. Turning, I scanned the space. The carpeted room was sparse in furniture. Only a few couches and chairs lined the walls. Potted plants sat in clusters. Just as I was about to shake the ominous feeling, I spotted a pair of shoes near a large potted fern. Shoes were hardly sinister. Still, the shoes combined with the scent had me cautiously walking over. Stopping just short of the plant, I realized it wasn't just a pair of shoes. It was a body. With a shriek, I hopped back, realizing what I had seen. Judging from the knife sticking out of his eye, All In was dead. My stomach rolled, threatening to spill. It's okay. It's all okay. I just had to get Remy. He would take care of everything like he normally did. Taking my phone, I dialed Remy.
What's up, Jet?
He asked when he answered. I found a dead guy.
Where?
In the tournament lobby.
I'll get medics down there. Are you sure he's dead? Did you check for a pulse?
He's got a knife sticking out of his eye. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a pulse.
Stay where you are. I'll be there in a minute.
He disconnected. I glanced between All In and the tournament doors. Since there wasn't anything I could do about the dead guy, I wanted to leave. The scent alone was enough to drive me from the room, not to mention the gruesomeness of the death. Had no one heard or seen the attack? I hadn't heard anything when I was in the restroom, but his murder had to have happened in the short time I was there. And why did All In return to the lobby? When he gave me the charm, he had left. Taking the charm from the backpack, I inspected it. Was it significant? Perhaps this gift wasn't about extending an olive branch, but getting rid of something nefarious. However, I saw nothing on it. It was just a cute charm the casino probably sold in their gift shop. It was worth $5, maybe $20 with inflated tourist prices. When Remy and 2 of his security guards entered the room, I pocketed the charm and headed over to him. He took one look at the guy and ordered his team to secure the area until the police arrived. Once his team was on the move, Remy glanced at me.
How come I'm not surprised that you found the body?
I shrugged. Bad luck Vegas strikes again. He sighed and rubbed a hand over his shaved head.
This guy was at the table with you earlier, wasn't he?
I nodded. He was the one who freaked out about losing.
I thought I recognized him. He had left with no issues, so I didn't give him another thought.
Did he leave the building or just the tournament room?
The building, I saw him exit to the strip.
Well, he came back.
Obviously, Jet.
No, I mean, during the first break he was in the lobby and apologized to me. Remy frowned.
Then what happened?
Nothing. He walked out to the casino floor and I went back to my table.
And that was it?
I nodded. He gave me a charm as an apology.
Let me see it.
I took it out of my pocket and handed it to Remy. He gave it a once-over and then handed it back.
Doesn't look like anything significant.
Returning it to my pocket, I asked, "Is it okay to go back to the table?"
Yeah. I'll find you when the police want a statement.
I nodded and stepped away.
Jet,
When I glanced at Remy, he said,
try not to get into trouble.
"I'm in Bad Luck Vegas. Trouble finds me, but I promise not to go looking for it." Appeased, he gave a nod. Heading inside the tournament room, I found my table had merged and my chip stack had dwindled. Sitting down, I noticed Bored Guy and Blondie were still at the table, but there was fresh blood. No, don't think of blood. New players. They were new players that were alive.
I thought you skipped out.
Blondie said. No, there was an issue. I stuffed my backpack under my chair and waited for the hand to be over. Blondie folded her cards and then eyed me.
What kind of issue?
Just an issue in the lobby. Security is dealing with it.
Did you get into another fight?
Another fight? I don't remember a first one. She pressed her lips together.
I just meant when Jack got mad 'cause you beat him.
Just how well did Blondie know the victim? She at least knew his name, which was more than I did. Oh, that was hardly a fight.
It could have easily turned into one. Jack has gotten into a few brawls before. I try to stay away from him, but I didn't have a choice today.
She gave a small shrug.
It's not like we can choose who we sit next to in tournaments. If I did, I'd be at Caleb's table.
I forced a smile and then looked at the cards dealt to me. A 9-5 offsuit. Letting my hand die, I relaxed in the chair and scanned the room. Caleb's opponents had changed over as well. Board guy leaned slightly over to me, keeping his voice low when he said,
If you see Jack again, avoid him. He's a manufacturer.
Of what? Blondie arched a brow.
Haven't you ever watched crime TV? You know, a manufacturer.
When I still looked confused, board guy said,
He makes meth.
Blondie nodded.
It's another reason Jack makes me nervous. I might look like a party girl, but I know my limits, and a guy who is cooking drugs in his house is way past my limits.
His name is Jack? I asked.
His nickname is the Jackal, but his real name is Jack Hennison. I'm Blondie, by the way.
Since I had nicknamed her Blondie, I appreciated I didn't have to remember a different name. But I wondered if Blondie was a nickname or a legal name. Nadia, I said.
I'm Pike, by the way.
Board guy said. Pike? I questioned.
Old nickname.
He said with a smile that lifted the bored expression from him. He was handsome in a subtle way that might catch a girl off guard.
A Pike got the better of me, and I've never lived it down.
What is she doing here?
Blondie huffed. I followed her glare to a woman standing off to the side. The woman wore a form-fitting red dress that was so short it would be impossible to sit down. Her long, golden hair curled down her back. Brown eyes laser-focused on something in the room. Following her gaze, I halted on Caleb. Silently cursing, I returned my focus to the game. But that was short-lived. Even with a woman trying to get my husband's attention, all I could think about was Jack's death. If he was a meth manufacturer, the list of suspects would be long. Once I talked to the police and free myself of the information, I could go back to being ignorant. Like an ostrich sticking their head in the sand when danger lurked, I was about to stick mine in my hoodie. Speaking of which, I grabbed my hoodie from the backpack and slipped it on, reveling in the warmth it provided from the cool room. However, when my hands began trembling, I knew it had nothing to do with air conditioning and everything to do with murder.